Baruch Bas Rav Yehuda. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's Chodesh. Today's Amud is Bracha Staf Mem Aleph Amud Aleph with 4 lines from the top. Hayil in front of Minim Harba. The Mishnah said there's a bunch of different things in front of him. You got all sorts of yummies in front of you, and there was a machlekes. Do you make a bracha on the yeshivs minim or a mashi yirtzeh? And we said the Rishonim saying that means chaviv. So machlekes in the Mishnah, do you say bracha first on yeshivs minim or chaviv? What you like better? So it says the gemorah. Ayil minim harba. Ula says ula machlekes. What is a machlekes between the yeshivs minim and chaviv? That's b'shebir choseyem shavos. If everything in front of you has the same bracha, so what should you make a bracha on? Do you say you prefer apples to dates, right? So what do you make a bracha on? Do you make a bracha on the date, which is shivas minim, or do you make a bracha on apples? You love apples. What goes first? You always make a bracha on shivas minim first. One of the first 7 listed in the Torah. If you first go with chaviv, what you like better? Okay, that's what the machlekes is. Aval, but you should know. In a situation where you've got 2 things, one has an 8, one is a adoma. So the whole machlekes is out the window. Everyone agrees you make a bracha on this and then you make a bracha on that. Now it's a little bit cryptic what that means. But what he's saying is the machlekes in the Mishnah is when they've got the same bracha. They're both the 8, they're both the adoma, they're both mezainis. Then do you go with chaviv or do you go with shivas minim? But if they've got the same bracha, if they've got a different bracha, one's a 8, one's a doma. In other words, one is an apple, which you like, and one is mezainis, which you don't like. Let's say wheat, donut you don't like. Who doesn't like donuts? You got so one shivas minim, the donut is flour, shivas minim, and one's apple. You like apples. So what do you make a bracha on first? That is so in that case when there's different brachas, divrei kol, mevarach hazeh v'chayz mevarach hazeh, you make a bracha on this and you make a bracha on that. What does that mean? There was no debate about whether you make a bracha on both. It's a strange lashon. The shaila was, what bracha do you make first? Ha'etz, or shivas minim, or chaviv? Now he's saying that everyone agrees you make both brachas in that case. In other words, what it seems to implying is that the reason why, when they're both the same bracha, you only make a bracha on one. That's what's going on here. When they're both the same bracha, you make a bracha on one. So which one do you do the bracha on? Do you do the bracha on one that you like, or on shivas minim? But if they have different brachas, one's a 8, one's a doma, then the whole thing's out the window. You make a bracha on both, and it doesn't matter which one you make first. There's not a shaila of what comes first. The machlekes in the Mishnah, according to this memra of Ula, who said this? Ula, is not what comes first. It doesn't matter what comes first. You can do an 8, you can do a doma, that's irrelevant. What's the machlekes there? You're only making one bracha. You're making one or 8. You do it on dates, or you do it on apples. That's the machlekes. Do you go with what you love, or do you do shivas minim? In other words, what's more chashuv? Is the shivas minim more chashuv? It's listed in the Torah, or is chaviv adif? It's interesting. It happens to be a little bit of a machlekes. What's called chaviv? Is it? Let's say what's called something you like. Is it something you normally like? I normally love apples, but right now I don't want an apple. I just had 25 apples. I wanted an apple. Right now, I want to have a date. Right now, I want to have an orange. So, is the orange now chaviv? Or do you look at, it's only called chaviv if it's something you always like? Machlekes, brought down by the Beis Yosef brings it down. Machlekes Rishonim. The Rosh says you go with what you normally like. Why? L'chayr, what it means is, if you always like apples, for you, apples is like a wow, right? I love kiwis. So that uplifts the species of kiwis, and that makes that into something chashuv. So you're making a bracha on something important. You love apples, you love kiwis, I'm making a bracha on kiwis. I love it. And it's the same darga as shivas minim. It's even more important than shivas minim. You love it. That's how he explains it. But if right now you happen to want to have a kiwi, that doesn't make the kiwi chashuv. Doesn't make it more important. Others say no. It's telling you the whole point is the Rambam says whatever you want to eat now. Why? L'chayr, they're trying to explain. Rimmel says if you want to eat it now, it means you're going to be nana more from it. And since you nana more, the bracha is elevated. You're making a bracha on something you're going to enjoy more. So better to make a bracha on something you enjoy. You want apples and to make a bracha on a date. You don't really want the date. You'll eat the date. But you don't really want it. So why should you make a bracha on the date? Make a bracha on the apple. You're going to enjoy it. So it's got nothing to do with what you normally like. It's got to do with what you want to have right now. Where's your hana going to be? Where's your pleasure? Where's your pleasure point? Right? So let's take a look. What's the machlekes? What's he saying over here? Take a look in Rashi. Very important Rashi. Second, hold on. In the second narrow line of Rashi. We'll start with the first line of Rashi. Chaviv Adif. Chaviv Adif, Eze Shiitze, the Masnisin is a Chaviv Olav Mashma. The Mishnah didn't say you have to make on the Chaviv. This is why I said yesterday, the Rashi's Mashma. Rashi says, Alezivim Shiitze means, according to Rashi, it doesn't mean you do it, it's a free for all, do whatever you want. The implication is you make a bracha on the thing that you like more. That's what I'm saying. Choviv adif. The gemorah here spells it out. Is shivs minim adif is choviv. Now, when they have different brachas, right? That's not the Mishnah. The Mishnah doesn't debate when they have different brachas. Explains Rashi. According to everyone, there's different brachas. You can't do one bracha for everything, right? So therefore, there's no machlekes here. Now, the machlekes in the Mishnah is only when there's one bracha. What should that bracha be on? Shivas minim or chaviv. But if you're making two brachas, there's no machlekes anymore. They're not discussing that subject. B'chal. Make both brachas. Which one first? It doesn't matter. Do whatever you want first. There's no relevance. So Rashi asks, "V'avagav means a kasha. V'kasha. Disnan bircha persa ilan berpi adama yatza." We know that it says, if you said on an apple and if something grows on a tree, berpi adama yatza, you're good. You're covered, right? So here you've got in front of yourself adama and eitz. So you can say adama and you eitz everything. You eitz adama and eitz. Huh? B'diavad. Yatza means b'diavad. You shouldn't do lechatchila, but you've got both in front of you. Do one bracha, right? Do one bracha, and that's it. You're done. So we should be back to the original machlekes in the Mishnah. If that's true, there should be a machlekes in the Mishnah. What do you do first? Chaviv or shivas haminim, and you eat b'diavad. So Rashi says, no. That's totally wrong. Why? Rashi says, Hani mili b'chadmina v'ta. When can you make adoma on an apple? You're holding an apple, you're holding a little piece of apple, you made a mistake. You were going to say bar pre-eitz, and you said by accident, hadoma. It comes out from the ground. Or you thought for a second, you have you're having a mango, and you thought, you have a grapefruit, and you think, wait, this grows on adoma. You made a mistake. You said adoma, and really it's a eitz. You thought grapefruits grow in a bush, and then you realize, it grows on a tree. It's supposed to say eitz, right? So you made a mistake. If you made a mistake, yotza, you said bar pi adoma by mistake on the wrong fruit, you yotza. But aval tzunayin v'zayis berachal tzunayin lo niftar zayis. But as we're going to see, if you have in front of you a radish and a olive, right? The radish is adoma, and the olive is eitz. It's a tree, bar pi eitz. So you can't make adoma on the. You can't say adoma on the olive. You're not yetza. According to Rashi, you're not yetza. The only time you can ever say adoma for a fruit that goes on a tree is when you were Torah. You made a mistake. I can't say, look, I can't bother to make 100 brachas here. You got adomas, you got eitz. I'll say adoma, we might say everything. You're not yetza, says Rashi. That's only b'diavad if you made a mistake. And therefore, that's not machlekes in the Mishnah. Machlekes in the Mishnah can't be, what should I make a bracha on? the radish or the olive, what comes first? The olive, which is shivas minim, or the radish, which is I won't eat the radish. It's chaviv. It's a nice juicy radish. That can't be the machlekes here, according to Rashi. Rabbeinu Yaina says that if you mechaven to be yetzer, it works. If you have an apple in front of you and a banana, and you say adoma, you have an apple and a radish, you say adoma, right? And you have intention to be mitzi the apple, it works. But you have a yatza. You could be yetzer. In other words, the reason why here it doesn't work is because you're not mechaven. But if you are mechaven, it works. It's all totally in what your kavanah is. But normally, a guy's not mechaven for it. So why should you? So the achronim or shainim ask, I think. So if you're yetzer b'di'eved, if you're mechaven according to the shita, why should you? You should always. You're not supposed to be marba brachas. You're not supposed to do lots of brachas. You're supposed to minimize the brachas. So just say adama and be mitzi everything. Why? If you're mechaven, you're yetzer. So be mechaven and be yetzer. Why should I say ha'etz? And read first say ha'etz, then you say adama. Just say adama, and part of the whole thing is done. So the answer, because since it's a better bracha, since it's more specific bracha, and adama is a more general bracha, you're supposed to do the more specific bracha. That's the mitzvah, the chazal v'saken, to do a more specific bracha just for ha'etz, and then do a more general bracha for adama. It's a better bracha, and therefore it's not called Yomaba b'brachas. You're supposed to do the right bracha. It doesn't matter if you're adding brachas here. Okay. So that's Rashi's opinion. It's a fundamental machlek, so we'll take a look in Taisus very quickly. Take a look at Taisus. Pirish Rashi. Okay, Kivish Enech Hapoites Chaveri, that's what Rashi says, it's two different minim. In that case, if they're both different brachas, Rabbi will say, it doesn't matter, do whatever you want. Shivas minim doesn't come first. Make a bracha or whatever you want, whatever's chaviv. In other words, you got two things in front of you, there's no machlekes. You could say, even in that situation, you got two brachas, what should come first? The olives that you don't like, or the apples that you do like. Or the radish that you do like, when they've got different brachas. Rashi says there's no machlekes of the different brachas. Says Taisus, why? Because in that case, Rabbi Yehuda doesn't care about shivas minim. Shivas minim is only if it's one bracha. But if there's two brachas, we don't care about shivas minim. Shivas minim means nothing. Well, so what should you do? Go with chaviv. Why? Why should you go with chaviv? Make a bracha on the chaviv, the one you like, and then make a bracha on the other one. Why? However, like Pisha gemorah, the gemorah doesn't say what the seder is. The gemorah says, do one and the other. So it's better for us to say that Reb Yehuda agrees with the chachamim. The chaviv is more important than shivas minim. So in other words, the Mishnah doesn't say what to do. Taisha says, what should you do? Chaviv. Why? Rabbi is Maida. Other Rishonim say, guess what? Shivas minim is kaida. Other Rishonim say, what does it mean? There's no machlekes. It doesn't matter chaviv, it doesn't matter shivas minim. There's no seder. Do whatever you want. There's no din at all. The Bahag, take a look, skip a few lines in Taisus. The Bahag says, halachas gedolos, skip about Victor Rashi, about 4 lines from the bottom of Taisus, 5 lines from the bottom of Taisus. Balachas gedolos, mashkos balachas gedolos, the bay creates taktim, the bay pri adoma. Says the Bahag, you always say ha'etz before adoma. The mevureres tfei, that's a more specific bracha. Haim l'fi hamaskana, they'll come on. So we have a sheet of Bahag, you first make ha'etz, then adoma, and you can't do whatever you want. That is according to the next part of the gemorah. We'll see the maskana of the gemorah. So there's a forward machlekes in Ula. What you do when it's the same bracha? Do you do ha'etz? Do you do chaviv? Do you do sheva minim? Is there no say you do whatever you want? Or according to the Bahag, it's a big machlekes to show you what the Bahag means. You say ha'etz, then you say adoma. You do first mevuras. Okay, says the gemorah. Meisivei. Sorry. Meisivei. You're sitting in front of a juicy radish and an olive. what should you do? One's Adama, one's Eitz. Mevarach al Tznon, Paitas Azais. Make a bracha on the radish, and then you have to make a bracha on the olive. So you see, you've got two brachas here, and the Brisa says you make one bracha on the radish, and that part is your Adama will relieve you from having to make a Eitz on the olive. So gemorah answers, you know what that's talking about? Kachas 9 Ikka. You're eating, the main thing in this meal is the radish. The olive is just that to soften the taste. It's like the ice cream cone. It's tafel. You don't want to have the olive. You're just having the olive because that's how you eat radishes. You stick a bit of olive in it, right? But you only make a bracha on the ikka, and the ikka pot is a tafel. In that case, you make a bracha on the radish, and you ignore the olive. So the Gemara asks, so what's the end of the Mishnah says, the end of the Brayta says, Rabbi Omer, with this radish and olive thing, Rabbi Omer, you make a bracha on the olive. Why? Shazayis min shiva. You make a bracha on the olive because the olive is one of the shivas of minim. You see, Rabbi Omer says you make a bracha. And if, so the Gemara asks, does Rabbi Omer not believe in this principle of ikka paitas atafel? Anything that is the main thing you want to eat, and then there's the lower level you're not interested in eating. You make a bracha on the main thing, and that relieves you from making a bracha on the secondary thing. You can tell me, yeah, of course Rabbi Yehuda agrees with that. Sorry, yeah, you could tell me Rabbi Yehuda argues with this. Rabbi Yehuda says that you can't put to the tafel with the ikka, and therefore you make a bracha on the zayis. Because the zayis yeshivs a minim. That can't be. Why? Rabbi Yehuda says if you're only eating the olive because of the radish, so you see that Rabbi Yehuda does agree with this principle that the ikka relieves you from making a bracha on the tafel. So the Gemara answers, La'ilam, but Snain, Ikra Askina. We're talking about here that the radish is the main thing. V'chiplik Rabbi Yehuda Rabbanan, and what's going on? What's the machlaikas Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanan? But Milse Achrisi Pligi, they are debating something completely different. This is missing a certain few words were cut out of this brisa, and this is what it really said. You got in front of you radish and olive, you make a bracha on the radish, and you don't have to make a blessing on the zayis. But when do we say that just nikka? That's only if the tsunai in the radish is the main part of this meal, of this dish. If the radish isn't the main part of the dish, everyone agrees that you make a bracha on both. So everyone agrees. Now this is the new part. If you've got two separate species, foods, that have the same bracha, you can make a bracha whenever you want. You first make a bracha on the zayis, because the olive is shivas minim, and that's kaidim. So according to this, the way the gemorah understands here, he's arguing with Ula. Ula said when they're both shavah, sorry. Ula said that's the machlaikas, right? When they've got the same bracha. Rabbi Yehuda says shivas minim, and he says chaviv. Okay, so it's the same thing. That what? When b'chshem shavais, they've got the same bracha. That's our case of our Mishnah. Kuntula. Mavrach leiz meshirta. Chum says chaviv. Eiz meshirta says chaviv. Rabbi Yehuda rachal azay shazay min shiva. And Rabbi Yehuda says shivas minim is kaidim. Okay. So that's the same machlokes as our Mishnah. Why? Rabbi Yehuda sava min shiva adif. Rabbi Yehuda always holds shivas minim is adif. Rabbanan savri min chaviv adif. That what you like is more important than shivas minim. If they have different brachas, you make a bracha on one, then you make a bracha on the other one. But did I skip a line over here? Hold on. Yeah, I skipped a line over here, sorry. Sorry, back up. Pligi gemorah Rav Ami Rav Yitzchak Nafcha. I skipped that line. Pligi gemorah Rav Ami Rav Yitzchak Nafcha. There's a machlokes. Rav Ami and Rav Yitzchak Nafcha. They're always arguing these two. That what? One says machlokes is when they have the same brachas. This is how we understood the Mishnah originally, like Ula. The Riyudas of a min shiva of a min chaviv. The machlokes is chaviv versus shiva saminim. But if they have different brachas, if they got different brachas like Ula, you make a bracha on one, they make a bracha on the other. Sending is Ula. V'chadama, we don't know who of these two Ritz Nafchot says so far. V'chadama, no, not like Ula. Af b'sheim b'chashem shavis nama machlokes. Rabbi Yehuda Acham also argue in a case where they have the different brachas. You still have the machlokes. Do you go with chaviv or you go with shiva saminim? Why? It says gemorah bishmel aman dom b'shchein shavos machlokes shapir. That makes sense till now. Alaman dom b'shein b'chashem shavos pligi. We'll come to the second opinion when they have a different bracha. They argue. But my pligi, what's the machlokes? So in other words, you got to make two brachas. You got to make eights. You got to make adoma. So what's the machlokes? Make both brachas. Ma baya. What's the problem? Make both brachas. What are they fighting about? The machlokes is which bracha you make first. The question is not which fruit gets the bracha, because there's two fruits in front of you, and you have to make both. So what's the machlokes? Which one comes first? In other words, you're going to make both. But still, there's a machlokes. What do you do first? You say first shiva saminim. You first say a bracha on your date, shiva saminim. But you first say a bracha on your watermelon, which you love. The Amar of Yosef, the Rav Yitzchak, kol mukdam b'pasuk zeh, mukdam lebracha. Says Rav Yitzchak, nafcha, l'chayra kol mukdam b'pasuk zeh, mukdam bracha. The pasuk of shiva saminim tells me what you make a bracha on first. Shenema eretz chita v'seira. Meaning, what's this bracha come to tell me? Let's take a look in Rashi. That you first make a bracha, the pasuk's telling me the seder brachas. First eretz, then chita, first chita, then seira, then gefen, then teina, then olives, then honey. So, and therefore what? And therefore, even if you've got to make a bracha on both, in this pasuk, right, you've got things with three or four different brachas. You got wheat, you got grapes, and teina, you got oil, you got honey. So, and dvash tmarim, some say shakol on it, date juice. Some say eitz, and we've definitely got two brachas, and possibly three. So what? And this pasuk's come and tell me which one comes first. The implication being, when you got two brachas, you have to go. There's still a seder. You don't say, "There's two brachas, do whatever you want." You see from this that there's two brachas. You got to follow. There's still an order. It's not just like once you got two brachas, we don't care. According to him, the pasuk's come tell me you've got two brachas, but you still have to follow the certain order of making the brachas. That's how he understands this pasuk. Upligi the Chanan. We're going to have to end a little bit early, sorry. Rav Chanan says, this pasuk has got nothing to do with which bracha you make first. This pasuk is telling me only about shi'urei Torah. In other words, each one of the things in this pasuk tells me a different shir, a different measurement that Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, was praised with. Take a look in Rashi. Fascinating Rashi. Pick it Rav Chanan. It's 3 lines higher up in Rashi. Had the Amar of Yitzchak, the Amar Hamukdam Kaidim Bracha, Al Makra L'Shevach Shalba. Why would you make the bracha one first? Because this pasuk is praising Eretz Yisrael. Sheish Pesach Hashuvim Alalu. It says Eretz Yisrael is beautiful. It's got all these things, right? That means these are important fruit. And the Torah lists these fruit in the order of their importance. Look how great Israel is. There's wheat, there's barley, there's pomegranates, and there's dates and figs. So it lists in order the importance the things Eretz Yisrael has. And therefore you make a bracha on those first. You make a bracha first on the more important thing. The pasuk doesn't come to tell me the importance of the fruit. Betam shalahem. I'm not sure if Rashi means here. I think Rashi means that why are these fruit important? Why are these foods important? Because of their tastes, and with their tastes. In other words, look, wow, dates taste amazing. Wheat, fantastic. Barley, pomegranates. They're praising Eretz Yisrael because of the beautiful taste of the fruit of them. Ella, it's praising Eretz Yisrael that the Torah uses the fruit to grow in Eretz Yisrael as measurements. We're going to see each one of these things is something as a different measurement in Torah, right? And so Eretz Yisrael's praise, they grows all the things that you need for Shirei Torah. Because how would it would be hard to live in a country if we wouldn't know. We're going to see that Geffen is a shir for a nozer, right? If you don't know what a grape is, if you don't know what a revius of yain is, so you're never going to know the shir of a nozer because they don't grow over here, right? So Eretz Yisrael is amazing that we have all the fruits that we need in order to know the Shirei Torah. That's the shevach of the pasuk, and therefore it's got nothing to do with which comes first, what's more important. It's about shurim, and therefore it's got nothing to do with which is more important. Okay, Be'ez Hashem, we will continue at a different time. Thank you very much.